Leap of Fate podcast fans, welcome to this week's episode with yours truly, Randy Silver. As we always start, what is Leap of Fate about? It is about overcoming adversity in today's society and culture. What does that mean? It means just whatever you deal in daily life, we're here to teach you how you can deal with it. It could be taxes, substance abuse, finding jobs, resumes, entrepreneurship, sports, whatever that may be. This week, we have my friend Juanna Brown. I met her in a Facebook group around podcasting. She reached out to me and said she wanted to come on and talk about taxes as tax season is coming up. I thought that was fantastic. Obviously, taxes can be hard for people to do as individuals. It can be hard for you to figure out what you owe, how you owe it, what company to use, if you have investments, how does it work? So everything around that. She's going to give us great information today. Can't wait for it. I'm personally going to use this a lot because I have some questions around investments that I need to get answered. Before we get into it with her, as we always do, just want to say thank you to the Loft gang out there. You guys are the best fans in the world. Thank you so much for all the feedback you give me, the ups, the downs. You guys push me through. Truly out there to support you and make sure that you can get where you want to go, and we're in it together. With that being said, let me go ahead and welcome Juanna to the podcast. Juanna, welcome.
Hey, Randy. First, I want to say thank you for having me up here. I do appreciate it. Thank you for the opportunity. I remember me and you was speaking about it at one point in time. Money is basically, you're right. Some people don't like talking about money, but then they talk about money, but then sometimes thinking like, what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Money is a value and it can be a benefit, but you also got to have knowledge of it. Even though I do taxes, I have 4 businesses total together, and it's all within the financial industry. The financial industry is a big place. I don't have it all because I can't do it all. So I got little chunks of it, and I got my section. I got the taxes. I do credit repairs, some other things, life insurance, legal shield to help you so you can understand the laws within your state when it comes to different things. But yeah, tax season is here. It's they got a lot of credits out there. All I want to let everybody know, please be patient. Don't try to run so fast, because the thing about it, some people file so early that they end up, because once you file it, you already know once you hit that e-file, it's gone. You can't get it back. Now, if you want to amend it because you might have missed up, you do have the right to do that. But I always tell people, try to slow down a little bit, because this year we cannot file with your last check stub. We cannot do that. We have to have all legitimate documents. Due to the pandemic and probably some things that happened in the past, the IRS is requiring everyone to have the official documents. So when we do file, we don't miss no money for y'all.
So when you say you need official documents, what would be considered an official document versus not an official document?
Well, your check stub is official, but it doesn't give you everything together. So your W-2 is an official document for the end of the year. Most of the time, if you have a small business, sometimes you have a revenue. Usually, most small businesses they do Excel spreadsheets. They might do a Word document. I find it more easier to break it down in Excel spreadsheet because you can break it down by month. Most small businesses have those. 1099s are official documents. Social security numbers, driver's license, IDs, things like that are official government documents. That the IRS accepts. Now with me, I wish I could use your last check stub, but unfortunately they won't let me file it, and they won't accept it. They'll probably send it back, or if they accept it's going to be a delay, because they really going to want that official W-2 form.
Got it. So it sounds like don't try to scam the IRS this year. It's not going to work.
They might have. Let me tell you, remember in all the past times, let's say all the way from early 2000 to now, they was allowing the last check stub, because if you went to like an H&R Block or Jackson Hewitt, that said just bring in your last check stub and get the cash advance. Nobody is doing that this year. I see no signs about somebody say, hey, bring me your last check stub. No, you got to have your W-2 this year.
Got it. So, that's really good information. That's a tidbit of how deep we'll go on this podcast. When someone doesn't know anything, they're like, hey, Juanna, teach me, help me. What is the first things that you tell people they should educate themselves on to start preparing themselves and knowing how they can leverage finances in the correct way?
Well, first, if you come to me, I'm going to want to know if you're really serious about it. So I'm going to ask you. I actually had somebody do this experience. This is why the experiment. I said, "Can you save $1 a day?" And people are going to say, "Well, yeah, it's probably easy." And then I say, "Well, is it saving easy or is it a mindset thing?" See, it's got to start with you. Remember, this is your money. This is your bank account. And you the one are asking me the question because I guess I'm hoping you want to change. So how do you start with that change? You got to start with yourself. I don't know if anyone hear a lot of these motivational speakers, but one of my favorites is Trent Shelton. And a lot of in his video, he said it all starts with you. I'm the same way. If you really want to be in this industry, I can tell when somebody is hungry for it. You know what I'm saying? And not somebody just, okay, let me just ask you a question, just so they can fix a problem. But you do know money has been a problem for centuries. It ain't just happened yesterday, and it did not just happen because of the pandemic. Everybody been on the same hamster roller coaster for a long time because I've been on it. And I can even tell you this, we were not taught finances in high school. I had to get to go to college just to learn about economics and personal finance.
Yeah.
And I even looked this up. Statistically, in the United States, only 17 states out of around 50 states are teaching one personal finance class within the high school. So if 17 states are only doing one, what about the rest? So we're still programmed, work your 9 to 5, put your money in the bank, go to college, get your degree, make your money, pay your student loans. It's like a same old repetitive thing. Like, so you mean to tell me you don't want to get off the boat and say, hey, I think I'm going to try to open up a business, still work my 9 to 5, partner with someone, get educated, maybe read a few finance books, and see how I can make it instead of me sitting on that same roller coaster, that same boat with everybody else. That's what I did. I stepped off the boat and said, I'm going to make a difference.
And I think you're making a huge difference. And you made a really good point that the schools aren't teaching it. My school did offer personal finance class, but it was an elective. And it was almost looked down upon that, like, I couldn't class because it wasn't good for college credits. It was something that like the kids who were not trying to go to a 4-year school were taking. So it was a joke. But like in hindsight, that should have been the biggest class to teach you, like real talk. I think it's a good segue to you were talking about what can you provide? So when the client comes to you and they're like, hey, Juanna, look at my taxes. What are some stuff you see? How do I get rebates? What do I fill out? Take us through that. What's the value that you provide to someone, and what are you doing, like the details versus HR Block versus going to them?
All right, so with H&R Block and Jackson Hewitt, you're still going to sit down with a preparer, but at least I'm gonna build a little rapport with you. I might say, hey, how you doing? Talk to me. You know what I'm saying? I can't do your taxes for one if I don't know nothing about you. You could give me all the paperwork. I'm gonna just look and be like, okay. You know what I'm saying? So first I'm gonna talk to you. I'm gonna try to have a little bit of that heart and that care. I'm gonna say, hey, look, I understand, you went HR Block, they're gonna charge you a lot. How much they charge you? I'm gonna try to work with you. I'm not gonna beat you in the head. And then I'm gonna go over some credits. I'm gonna say, hey, the IRS said that we get the look back credit. So what was your annual gross income for 2019 versus 2020? Okay, well, you made 30,000 in 2019, but you only made 15. Okay, well, you get a choice now because the IRS is letting us use the 2019 gross so you could get the earned income. And that's called a look back credit, which is awfully kind of pretty nice because we do know businesses shut down. So I'm going to educate you. Hey, you might qualify for the look back credit. Did you get your stimulus? You didn't? Well, there's a recovery rebate credit where within the software, if you got your first one, but didn't get your second one, what was your first one? And for the second one, put 0. And that's quote, quote, triggering the IRS to say, hey, this person didn't get their $600. So yes, that's going to be up there. And then another one is
what I want to be before you go, just to make sure people understand that, because I want to, you're speaking a little fast. I just want to make sure that people understand it. So if you got the stimulus the first time, but you didn't get the second time, you can put inside your tax returns you didn't get it, and it will, instead of you having to pay taxes, it will deduct $600, so you may get a rebate and get the money there. Is that what you're saying?
Either that, right? So let me go back to it. And I'm sorry, I was a little fast. You're
good. I can feel the passion.
So, all right. So if you did not get your $600, it's going to be, the question is going to say, did the taxpayer get their stimulus? The first one, you might say yes, and you're going to say how much. Let's say you got $1,200.
Okay.
So number 2 is going to say, did a person get the second one? We're going to say no. Zero. So it's a zero in that blank. That's going to trigger when they literally start processing that this particular taxpayer did not get their stimulus. So what they supposed to do is just add it to your tax. And if you owe some tax, say like you owe 300, it's just going to, kind of subtract and give you the rest. That way, you're getting a little refund. You don't have to pay. So I look at it as a pretty decent thing, the way they're doing it. But they are giving themselves until February 1st to hand out stimulus. Let's just say it's January 29th. I did your taxes. You told me today you did not get your stimulus. Well, January 30th, and you woke up, you got $600. But remember, I already filed your taxes, so it's out of my hands. So guess what the IRS is going to do? They're going to fix it. No, they're not. They're going to readjust and fix it where they probably would have gave you the 600. Now they're going to adjust it. But remember what I said, the taxpayer is not going to adjust it. The Internal Revenue System is going to adjust it. So don't call me and get mad at me. You call them because I did what you told me. Remember, you told me on January 29th you didn't get it. I put the zero there. Remember, I even gave you copies so you can sign it, and then it goes off because you're going to sign these papers before it go anywhere. So that means you got a chance to look at what I did, put what I told you. So when you say, hey, Juanna, all good, I signed it. I say, okay, remember you told me you didn't get your stimulus January 29th. It's gone. But you're going to call me on January 3rd. Hey, I got my stimulus. Okay, well, it's out of my hands. But I'm going to tell you.
So then so as a customer of you, then, does it behoove me to even turn my taxes in before these deadlines? So that way something like that doesn't happen?
It's not going to hurt you because the IRS supposed to have all this stuff organized. But just so happen if somebody's slipping, you get a second one. Eventually, you'll get a notice. You know how the government is, but yes, they're going to adjust it on their end. But what I'm going to do, if you told me today that you didn't get it, I'm going to do what you said, and I'm going to tell the IRS, hey, they didn't get it, but in their system, you got it on the 30th, then they're going to adjust it or fix it or say, hey, they did get it, they're going to put the 600 or whatever they do. But the reason I'm saying that, I just want y'all to know the tax preparer is going to do what you say. I hope you get a good one, but the IRS on those stimulus, they're going to handle that on with the stimulus. We're just going to put the information that you directed me to do.
Got it. So what about the new stimulus? Because they're talking about maybe another check of like $1,400. Is that going to hit this year's taxes, or will that come for the next year's taxes if it gets paid out in February or March on the projections?
Now, I heard the news was saying, I think one of the correspondents that, because I watched CNN News or NBC, they were saying that Biden wanted us to get it by March. Now, y'all know tax season is going to be over in April 15th. Well, it's not over, but that's a deadline. But you can always get an extension, and that's all the way to October 15th. But that's a different ball game. We don't even mess with it. But if he does,
too high level for right now.
Right, that's a little different conversation. But if you get the stimulus, say like in March the 1st, I'm just throwing numbers out. I don't know. This is just an example. If you get $1,400 on March the 1st, but you file your taxes, just keep your paperwork because the IRS may come out with something and say, hey, we need to refile something else. We can amend it. But we always wait on what the IRS say. If you filed your taxes, don't worry. I'm sure the IRS is going to let us know what they want us to do with that $1,400. But right now, let's not worry about that yet because half of the people ain't even got their $600 yet.
Got it. Got it. So that's really good information. Again, if you guys have any questions, we'll make sure that we link her so you guys can ask her. So then continue on. What other stuff are you able to help the people find rebates, a way to get money back?
So there's a list. I had a list on my phone, but I'm not even going to try to look for it. So if you're a small business, there's a form called 7202. And that's if you're a small business and going to do a Schedule C. That form is going to be equal to like, FMLA or sick or leave time if you're a W-2 job. Because if you're working a W-2 job, more likely most people get 2 to 4 weeks in a vacation or sick time that throughout the year. Well, the IRS is giving small businesses because that the schools got shut down. Some of us businesses got shut down for about 14 to 30 days. So they're going to give us sick time. But again, it's only for small businesses and if you're going to file a Schedule C. Now, if you're unemployment and you didn't do anything but that, no, you don't get that form. This is for small business people, and the numbers that they're giving us, you get 10 days for self-care. So say like you had a fever, but you're not quite sure it was COVID, but you're still quarantined, go ahead and take those 10 days. If you had children and they were virtual, because again, the government everybody got sick, the government shut us down, kids had to do virtual, you get up to 50 days, and that's it. Just 50 days if you had to take care of children or a family member, but if it was self-care, 10 days. And if it was like your mother, 10 days. But kids, anybody that school age kids, now we're not talking about college kids, but school age kids that you could not get to a babysitter because the daycare would close, or you couldn't get a babysitter, you get 50 days for those.
Got it. And that's really big. So then what considered small business? Is it a certain revenue threshold point? How do people know if they fit in that category? Like for me, I'm a Leap of Fate's an LLC. I just opened it. Am I considered a small business versus somebody who owns their own couple stores that are clothing stores?
Okay, so a small business, it is based on certain revenue. I don't have that number, but I will tell you, if you don't have 500 people, please don't file an S Corp. That's like a sole corporation. Why would you do that? A big corporation is like Walmart, Best Buy, Amazon. Those are corporations. You, Randy, will be a small business. Anybody that has an LLC does not always have to be considered a big business. If you got 5 people working for you, you're still small. You may only have probably $100,000 come through. That's not even close to what Walmart brings in.
Yeah.
So that could still be considered a small business. Even a self-employed person is a small business, and $100,000. If you compare the revenue to other ones, that's nowhere near. So that could be also considered as a small business.
Got it. So for me, again, here comes some of my questions. LLC. I just started the LLC, became official in January, so still really brand new, honestly, like 2 or 3 weeks old, but growing this and what Leap of Faith is. Do I have any benefits this year because I haven't done any expenses? I haven't done any finances to the company. I have stuff on my personal card. Could I expense that for Leap of Faith, or is that a sunken cost and I have to start using my LLC name for next year's taxes?
So I'm glad you said so. Check this out. So if you did,
a lot of people have that question, for like their own e-commerce and whatnot.
Well, exactly. I noticed there's a lot of e-com out there, and again, remember, a whole lot of e-com are not big corps. Some of them are LLCs. So Randy, have you, for one, if you did not have your taxes, if you have not filed your taxes, that could be a good thing. So the good thing with you, and I was just talking to somebody else who has one, you can file your taxes 2 ways. You can file as the LLC, or you can file working for the LLC. So one good thing that you can do is, if you're under the LLC, if you do it the right way, you could get yourself a 1099 NEC and you can pay yourself. But guess what? Paying yourself is a deduction under your LLC. So see, also meals have been 100%. So check this out. You may not have a business account yet, but what if you went to McDonald's maybe twice a month? That's 100%. The IRS is giving small businesses that. You can literally say, okay, I spent $10 at McDonald's once a month for 12 months. That's an extra $120 you can literally take off for deductions. So you get 100% your meals. And that's for even if you're not an LLC also. So if you're a small business, you get 100% meals. But because Randy is the LLC, he can file different ways. If you're just a small business, just file as a self-employed or a sole proprietor, and just, do your expenses and things like that. But Randy, I'm sure you have expenses because you're running your business out of your house, correct?
Yep.
So you get to take 20% off your mortgage or rent. Even your cell phone, business, and internet, you're talking on as a business right now. This is 20% off your internet bill, cell phone bill. If you did maybe some of them Uber drivers and Lyft, they can actually either take mileage or gas. Now, one thing about those two, the IRS not going to give you both deductions, but you can pick whichever one that you think was the highest. And it's 56 cents per mile. And with your gas, just keep your gas receipts or your bank statements and just add it up at the end of the year, and you could claim that as a deduction. So, Randy, you kind of got it pretty decent. So, one thing you also can do, if you pay yourself, that's a deduction. Another thing you can do, if you start a retirement savings plan, that's a deduction also.
Awesome. That's a really good information. You were talking about me being a proprietary LLC. This is my second job to the degree. Leap of faith, still up and coming. But I work for Cisco, global corporation, W-2, everything like that. So would I file two separate taxes if I have a corporate job plus an entrepreneur job, or is it filed under one way, say a social security number?
Right. So it will be filed under your social security number umbrella. It's just like if you had two jobs, right? So if you work two W-2s, is that going to go under two different files? It'll go under your social security number.
Thank God. I did not know the answer to that question. I'm glad
you're good. So if you're an LLC and a W-2, it's two jobs. But one, you're just going to get some deductions like your expenses and things like that. But you file it under one umbrella. So you were right.
Yeah. So what if I started my business like I did this month? Say if people started their e-commerce website business June, July, August, middle pandemic, can they deduct stuff that happened before, or is it only from the time that LLC became official in the eyes of your state and federal government?
So with an LLC, like I said, remember, most people got their LLCs probably in the middle of the year, but the pandemic started in March. But remember, you were just opening your business. You probably had expenses, but you did get your LLC. You were still working a W-2 job, but you were still also bringing up your business, doing marketing. You may not have no customers, but you were still spending money as you was making money on your W-2 job. So you're still going to do those credits and also do those expenses. But you don't have to file under your LLC if you don't want to until the prior year. You just got yours in 2021, but you will still be under like a small business. So you don't have to file your LLC right now. You can wait until 2022, but you're still a small business because you've still been doing your business and your W-2. So that still will still fall under that one umbrella. But remember, regardless if you had an LLC or not, if you got proof on those bank statements and your receipts that this was for business, you will get credit for that.
Got it. So what I need to do then is go back, and I created like Facebook ads, Instagram ads. I need to go pull those receipts and give it to my tax person, who is Danny. Shout out my old housemate. He's really good. So that way he's able to do it. Or do I just need to go ahead and tell him like, hey, Danny, I looked at all my Facebook ad receipts, added up to like $2,000 over 4 months. Can you deduct that? Do I need to show him that, or do I just tell him?
You could tell him. But this is why I tell everyone, remember, we want to make sure we file your taxes legally, but you don't have to do a lot of proving to us. I mean, you still want to show us, I had these receipts, but I did add it up for you so they don't have to go through it. But remember, most of the proof has to be for the IRS. They say keep your stuff for 3 years. I keep mine for 5 because I remind people, remember who we're dealing with. The government can change their mind within a blink of the eyes. I mean, you see what happened 1 minute, all of a sudden we're in this pandemic, and now people riding in the Oval Office. Like, what just happened here?
Yeah,
like within a blink of an eye. So still keep up with your receipts. You can give it to your preparer and let your preparer, add it up for you. Or you could be a nice one and add it up for them and say, hey, here's my expenses on the sheet, or I wrote it down. But make sure you just keep it for the IRS, because anytime they can come at you for an audit, or they can say, hey, I'm not saying that you didn't make it. Can you just show us a little bit of receipt or maybe your bank statement that you did this? And most of the time, if you can prove it, they'll just say, okay, you good, keep it moving.
Got it. That makes perfect sense. Is there anything else that people should know that we haven't talked about today?
Probably a whole lot of stuff we didn't talk about, but
I love that.
I mean, like I say, the financial world is a big world. Like I say, what's going on is the tax season, y'all. Just make sure, please ask your questions. Do your due diligence as you know yourself. I hope the tax preparers that you get with do their due diligence, ask those certain questions. They should be making sure that, you're providing W-2 forms and Social Security cards to everyone you're going to claim, so they can be, doing things correctly. But still, as a person, you may not know people. Just ask a question. hey, how long you been doing business? Or what is your credentials with this? Or what's your understanding about this? Just to talk to them, just to see where they coming from. I also had people that literally filed their taxes with too many people and thought they were getting free quotes. So like I said, people, make sure you do your due diligence. Make sure you know who you're dealing with. And if you do have a good preparer, please stick with that preparer. If you need a new one, I'm here. There's other ones in the area. I do all 50 states. Like Randy was saying, you can hit me up on Facebook, IG. I'm all over the place.
One last question for you, Juanna. There's something that popped in my head. I think is really important. We talked about a little bit Robinhood and retail investors. A lot of people got in stocks for the first time, and you kind of see, oh, I bought a stock for $5. It's $20. I cashed out. Great. I made $15. Is that the case, though? Do they have to pay taxes on it? Are there stipulations like capital gains where if you don't hold the stock for a year, do you have to pay it? Can you kind of give some insight to people who maybe are new to stocks and this is their first time having taxes on stocks? They may be surprised at how much they owe and things like that.
All right, so remember what I said in the beginning of this, y'all. Remember who we're dealing with. So if you're going to cash out and you made $15, you're going to pay interest on that $15. Y'all do know Uncle Sam coming for what's his, right? I'm just saying. So if you did cash out, now the suggestion and advice I give, you don't have to do it. Like I said, I know y'all grown. With me, I did my Robinhood last year around the pandemic. I'm just going to let it sit because I'm not going to give Uncle Sam everything he wants right now. I might give it to him later, but I'm not going to give it to him now. So I advise, if y'all going to do stocks, let it sit for a few years. You're not going to get it. How are you going to get taxed with something if you don't touch it? That's I always tell people, if you don't touch your money, what can Uncle Sam and what the government can do? They can't do it. It's sitting with Robinhood or it's sitting with whatever mutual fund or investor broker you're dealing with. You're not literally touching it. When you get taxed, that's when you touch it. Just like your 401ks. Anytime you cash it out, you're touching it because it's in your bank account. You might not legally have it in your hand, but those people are going to report, if it's Fidelity or whoever, they're going to report to the IRS that you took out $1,600 from that 401k. And guess what they're going to do? That company is going to send you a paper and you're going to have to file it. And so the IRS can let you know how much you owe them. So long as you don't touch it, you really won't be paying taxes unless you withdraw it.
Got it. So I think that's perfect. I think all y'all can see how knowledgeable Juanna is with information, providing everything around taxes, finances, all the whole industry. So with that being said, Juanna, I want to thank you so much for your time today. You have been so knowledgeable to the Leap of Faith fans, to me personally. Thank you so much. This was unbelievable. Any final words for everybody out there?
Only thing I got to say is thank you, Randy, for having me. I truly appreciate the opportunity. Everybody, again, if y'all need me, I'm on Facebook as Juanna Counsel, IG at Juanna.counsel, Twitter and LinkedIn, Juanna Brown. And my email again is wannab48@gmail.com. Don't be nervous to ask me a question. I don't mind.
Awesome. And again, she's not going to charge you for a question, and like HR Block and other places. My name is Randy Silver. You're listening or watching The Leap of Faith. You can find us again on Apple, Spotify. If you're watching on YouTube, please go ahead, like, subscribe, hit notifications so you know when this comes out every week. I have videos around working out, meditation, sunsets, these videos, how-to videos. So really trying to grow Leap of Faith to be something, your one-stop shop for everything you need in your life. Please check it out, or my website, leapoffaith.com. Listening guest, thank you so much again. Until next week, we'll do our sign-off. So Juanna, I want you to repeat after me, please. Stay healthy.
Stay healthy.
Stay wealthy.
Stay wealthy.
And have a good week, fans.
Have a good week, everyone.
Deuces. Bye.
Yay.